again, and thank you. Thank you for that question. Thank you, Agriculture Today, for organizing this very important event. It's a big subject, and I think is that okay? Yeah, okay. I think our two panelists have raised some very vital points here in terms of how we need to take care of multiple factors in the environment naturally to promote natural farming. Let us just take a step back and look at where we are in terms of agriculture today and in the country. The Green Revolution came about 70 years ago. Fertilizers were brought into the country in the 1900s approximately, the first fertilizer plant, right? So this has created an agricultural practice and has had an impact on our environment. If you look at this data, the country spends 22 billion US dollars to the tune of about 180,000 crores for the subsidy, largely for the nitrogenous and phosphorus-based fertilizers. As a result of this, what has happened is we've incentivized an imbalanced fertilizer practice or a nutrition practice, which has led to what we now recognize as soil degradation, contaminating water bodies, things like that. When you talk about addressing productivity along with the quality that we are talking about. So bioagriculture now has to do all of these things. We need to look at addressing soil health. We need to address the productivity also, but we need to combat the negative impact that has been also created out there. So we need to have solutions which are going to do that, right? So if a certain soil is not responding to a certain practice, a lot bioremediation is required. 50% of the soils in the country today are saline, right? When you are working with saline soils, and saline soils are an emerging problem globally. So bio solutions actually, or natural solutions actually need to address that. Getting productivity from saline soils is difficult. Getting nutritious food out of saline soils is a challenge. So yes, there has to be innovation which is cognizant of all of this and giving us viable, a practical solution to the farmer so that he can address this problem. Talking about productivity, when you talk about yield, typically the country or any economy looks at agricultural productivity as a benchmark of how much progress they've made. Dr. Ma'am mentioned earlier that, when you look at organic farming, we were always doing organic farming before the Green Revolution came about, but we were never targeting yield, so we probably were not food secure. But the interesting part is we never looked just about more than 100 years ago. We don't have any data about our soil, right? What was the status of the soil just 100 years ago? And when you look at agriculture, agriculture is not 100 years old. It's much older than that. And we've been farming for thousands of years. So what has happened to the soil historically has not been understood. What were nutrient levels just 100 or 200 years ago? We don't have that information. Today, when you look at data, and if you look at the quality of a banana in the US, or you look at the quality of cumin in the US from a nutritional point of view, I can tell you there are parts in India which are producing better cumin in terms of quality than what is stipulated as a standard in the US. So we must recognize that what is it that we are targeting? We need to be targeting both quality and yield. So this is something that is often missed in the name of just saying, we are the largest producers of so and so, and we are the largest producers and so and so, right? We miss the quality aspect. So solutions have to target that. If it is aligned with nature, if science is aligned with nature, then you have you will naturally be able to address both yield and quality, right? So this is the other part. The third part, I think, Dr. said, from an agroforestry point of view, which is a wonderful thing that must happen for the country as a whole. because if you look at, when we do work internationally, we watch Brazil as an example of running a massive amount of agriculture which is being rain-fed. And if you look at India, the data, we are the largest area under drip irrigation internationally and expanding naturally. Water as a resource is going to be a huge challenge in the future, not only in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality. Right? So we are talking about addressing water sources, not only from an availability point of view, but even a quality point of view, because that impacts directly how the farmer is going to be able to farm. So Brazil has a forest code where 2012, they introduced a policy where farmers must mandatorily have 20 to 50% of their land under agroforestry. And this is to prevent deforestation in parts of the country. Right? So bare minimum 20% going up to 50%. And what this has enabled is, they have a prolific growth in the agroforestry area along with the productivity that they're dealing with. Having said that, they're also recognized to be the most quickly adopting new bioagri inputs solutions. Nevertheless, I would want to say that the soil health problems persist. So this is still something that has not been addressed by the world put together. Having said the forest code that has been brought in has allowed them to thrive on rain-fed agriculture. So if you look at our farmers, the biggest challenge, as we know, they're facing is climate change. Now, when you look at climate change, the big greenhouse emissions are, the methane, N2O, and CO2 emissions. These are the three large categories of emissions. N2O emissions, 65% of the N2O emissions, they're coming from agriculture, largely due to the synthetic fertilizer practice. So if you do not tackle that, if you do not look at address, and I think the government is very clearly saying that they have a plan in place to put forward a reduction of 25 and followed by, subsequent milestones in reduction. And I think a lot of research and industry is already working in this direction. So that's a good sign. When you look at methane, then of course we're talking about livestock and that producing and contributing to those emissions. The other issue is that livestock is also being reared in the same way with the same kind of fertilizer practice, right? And that is again contributing to that kind of greenhouse emission. And the last piece is the CO2. So if you have a forestry policy there, the challenge in India is the smaller farm sizes, so there are too many large number of farmers, so to maybe FPOs here can be brought in to develop these models of agroforestry come farming, come commercial farming, where they can become sustainable farms for the future, and this can be a big model for establishing CO2 capture naturally for the farmer. So the farmer is in control of CO2 capture. We are not leaving it to the rest of the economy to say, please come and help our farmers, So this is the other part. And yes, I believe you do need innovation. And I think a lot of active innovation is happening in the biological space, in various areas to bring this forward. Policy level initiatives to encourage whether it's a biofertilizer or a nutrient which is affecting and impacting the quality of food along with yield should be incentivized by the government. And that way you can leapfrog, you can save a lot of losses, economic losses, which the country is facing today. So yeah, with this, I'd give it back to you. Thank you.